The six-time world champion New England Patriots.
Edelman's going to throw.
The quarterback's arm.
Let's go. Intercepted.
Oh, somehow they blew the coverage.
Oh, that's a catch.
Hello, Super Bowl. We are all Patriots. And tonight,
Patriots are Super Bowl champions. The Patriots are Super Bowl champions.
Welcome back to the Pats Back podcast. I am here, Mr. Josh Finn, as always with my good friend, Hybrid 1K, JV That Kid, URI Dining's former All-Star, former finest, Mr. Josh Valadella. Josh, how are we doing on this fine Friday morning?
I'm doing pretty damn good, and even better now that I see you rocking the Judon red sleeves.
It's funny, when we went to the game, one of my friends commented that on the Instagram post I made. He's like, not sure if it's Judon or Fenton. I'm like, stop talking, please. Anyway, today we are going to be previewing the Buffalo Bills game coming up on Sunday, and it is going to be a lot of fun as always. I think this one's actually going to be one of the better ones we've done. We're just going to continue to get better and better at these as time goes along. So make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, make sure to continue checking us out. So starting off here, New England's actually favored in this one, -2.5. Money line is in favor of New England on the -133 side. Over under is 43.5. And there are some big playoff implications in this one, actually. So we'll start with the simple one so we don't confuse anyone. The Pats can clinch the division in this one with a win and with Miami's loss or tie. But keynote here, Taysom Hill and Trevor Siemian were both placed on the COVID list. So Ian Book is set to start in that one. So it's not looking good for a Miami loss there. Miami has been hot. I believe they won 6 in a row, if I'm remembering
6 in a row, bro, since Tua came back.
Which is crazy because they were 1-7. I thought they were dead in the water. People are calling for Brian Flores' head. They're like, burn him at the stake. And all of a sudden they're like, sign him to a max, like a John Gruden type contract after this turnaround. Absolutely insane, but I don't know. Great turnaround. Great job so far. Moving on to the more complicated playoff berths for New England. So, starting off first, New England can get in the playoffs and clinch a spot with a win and a Vegas loss or tie and a Chargers loss. Second implication, or second scenario, New England win, Indy loss or tie, and a Cincy loss. New England win, Indy loss or tie, Baltimore loss or tie, and a Pittsburgh loss or tie. New England win, Indy loss or tie, and a Chargers loss. Or a New England win, a Baltimore loss, a Browns loss or tie, and a Pittsburgh loss or tie. I'm not sure about you. I would just like for the first one to play out and just keep it nice and simple. Get a win and have the Dolphins lose and keep on keeping on because it's a great day to be great and get all of that other mumbo jumbo out of there that we were referring to. Anyway, moving on to the injury report for the Pats to start off, and it is a loaded one, to say the least, I would say. We got Nelson Aguilar hasn't practiced yet this week with a concussion. Ramondre Stevenson has not practiced as well with an illness, which I'm assuming it's non-COVID related because he's not on the COVID list. But that could be a big one because I guess there's this also flu bug going around the NFL. You saw Lamar Jackson missed a week a couple weeks ago because of he had the flu. So it's very possible Ramondre Stevenson sits in this one, which is kind of scary if Damian Harris doesn't play. Fire up Brandon Bolden. I don't care if there's a fire. Let this man cook. David Andrews, limited in practice with a shoulder injury. Christian Barmore with a knee was also limited. Jawan Bentley had a ribs and ankle injury he suffered in the last game. Brandon Bolden with a knee injury. Nick Folk, left knee, so not that important. Damian Harris with that hamstring. N'Keal Harry had a hip injury he suffered in the Colts game. Adrian Phillips with that knee injury from the Bills game. Matthew Slater also limited with a illness. All of those players I just named, aside from Aguilar and Ramondre Stevenson, were limited in practice. And you thought we were done? Just kidding. The COVID list. We got Kendrick Bourne, Harvey Langi, Cameron McRone, and Ronnie Perkins. They were all added on Tuesday. The big one here, obviously, is Kendrick Bourne. But he is vaccinated, I saw, so he does have a chance to play on Sunday. But generally, guys who are put on the COVID list do not play at all.
There's a good chance, though, with the updated COVID protocols.
You also, that's true, but you also have to remember a lot of guys, I think part of the reason a lot of guys don't play is because, well, A, you don't practice all week. True. B, you probably still don't feel that great because you just were sick. COVID, And C, a lot of guys just don't test out of it in time. So possible, but not overly likely, I would say. But it's
not
possible,
optimistic,
especially because it was earlier in the week. But anyway, first thing we want to take away here is obviously COVID. COVID is obviously a thing going around the NFL right now. I think the Pats have been fortunate, I would say, that
I would agree.
Obviously they're kind of in a little bit of a pickle here, but it's not anything they can work around. It's a challenge, but it's not like Mac Jones. Or
Yeah,
like
it's not
you don't have to fire up Brian Hoyer or anything like that yet.
I feel like we kind of like dodged a bullet. We're not in the same situation as the Rams. They got hit, bro.
Yeah. But another big thing to take away here. So Juwan Bentley, if he's out, either Jamie Collins or Kyle Van Noy is going to have to fill that void. How do you feel about that?
I'm confident. I mean, you've been seeing it all year, Jamie Collins, and limited action, making plays. So
Jamie Collins just baffles me. Like, he goes to all these different teams. He has all these different things going for him, and he just sucks. And then he comes back to New England, and he's like an all-pro.
it just seems like a motivation thing. Like, he goes to a team that pays him, not exactly like winning environments. I mean, Detroit just won their second game. You go to New England, you're playing for Bill, playoffs, possible Super Bowl run. It's a motivation there.
So I know I just said that the Pats haven't been hit too hard here, but there is a big mess going on here.
Bro.
Like, starting off with the backfield, what do you do here? So obviously the backfield's not overly COVID related. It's possible that you have your backfield completely intact on Sunday, but you got all three guys essentially on the injury list. I don't think Bolden's that much of a concern. Like, I think he's going to play. Damian Harris, the hamstring, very possible he misses time. Ramondre Stevenson with that illness, also very possible he misses this week. What do you do here if you're firing up Brandon Bolden? Like,
this is for depth at least. You're calling up the practice squad, and I think at this point they're just gonna rock with who they have. Maybe see some Jonnu Smith in the backfield, because at this point they probably would have signed a running back.
I'd imagine you fire up J.J. Taylor in this one, because he was taken off the COVID list. So if Stevenson even if one of the two miss any time at all, which I think, I don't know how possible it is that both of these guys play, especially Stevenson, who hasn't practiced yet. But I'd imagine J.J. Taylor sees a good amount of touches in this one.
Yeah, I agree.
Moving on here. So the big thing to take away from this injury report is the receivers. Obviously, with Kendrick Bourne on the COVID list, N'Keal Harry with a hip injury, and it's just kind of a mess all over the place looking at it. Is this the Jonnu Smith blow-up game? And who's not going to target in this one?
I feel like every week is kind of a step forward towards seeing that Jonnu Smith blow-up week, because like we said last time, or maybe even the last time before that, it's like every time Jonnu Smith has one big play,
It gets called back.
it gets called back.
He's like the epitome of sheesh. Like, he's that guy you start in your fantasy lineup, you get all excited, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, there's a flag. I'm not surprised.
I had to last week. He got me 2 points, I think.
Lit. It's lit
Awful.
to be lit. Who's not going to target in this one, though? Say if these guys do miss time.
Probably the same usual targets. Hunter Henry. If Bourne doesn't play, maybe he's heavily reliant on Jacoby Myers. We could see some N'Keal Harry action.
The big thing with Kendrick Bourne is his versatility, because you can line him up
Anywhere.
literally anywhere, and he can do just about anything on the field. That's the one issue I see with that.
Yeah, I agree. It's gonna be missed.
The thing I want to take away from this past week is Devin McCourty did say that everyone's going to need to be ready. And I think he makes a really great point about this, because you don't know what's going to happen. Like, obviously, like, you see this injury report that we're talking about today, you see how it's supposed to play out. But it's also possible that at the end of the day, the guy standing next to you at kickoff gets COVID and can't play. Like we saw last year with Des Bryant, literally minutes before kickoff, he tested positive for COVID and he got taken off the field.
Yeah, that was
like
crazy,
things like that. So it's very possible. You've also seen in different sports, like Steph Curry in the middle of the game get a positive COVID test, come back. Not Steph Curry, Seth Curry, I'm sorry. Get a positive COVID test in the middle of the game and have to leave the bench. Like, you've seen insane things like that. So for all we know, this is what we have right now, but we don't know what Sunday is going to come around at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Got to stay ready at all times.
The good news is, so Adrian Phillips said that the Patriots preparation has turned up a notch this week. Obviously, a lot of guys have really been, I guess, a little bit harder in the locker room this week. Mack and Andrews, David Andrews, that is, both came out and said that they really did not have a good week of practice leading up to that Colts game. And I really think it showed. Like, obviously, they did not seem ready. They come out, looked a little slouchy, kind of like that bye week hangover, whatever it might be. And they didn't play well.
Yeah, you saw it in the first 3 quarters, maybe a little bit past the 3 quarters. They just started out slow. Same thing. I agree.
So, Moving on to the Bills side of things here and that injury report. They're coming off an impressive 31-14 win over the Panthers last week. Good game to get back on track after a couple of tough losses to the Pats and the Bucs. But we got Josh Allen with a foot injury. He did practice in full. I would not expect any issues there. Jerry Hughes, neck injury was limited. Micah Hyde, back injury, limited. Tywan Jones, knee injury, did not practice. And Emmanuel Sanders had a knee injury, and he was a limited participant. On the COVID list, we got Cole Beasley, Deion Dawkins, which will be a big loss, and AJ Ebenezer. Anything you want to take away from that?
Yeah, I'm not really too concerned about Josh Allen. He's been kind of hurt for a couple weeks, banged up, but he's been showing up. So
it's just kind of one of those things he's just going to play through at the end of the day. I don't see anything really changing in regards to that.
Even Emmanuel Sanders, I'm not concerned. Gabriel Davis has been on the come with the past couple of weeks. So.
We're going to talk about him in a little bit here. But Pats coming into this one, they are looking for their 28th season sweep of the Bills, 16th in the Bill Belichick era. I don't think it's going to be that easy at all. Pats are also going for their 27th 10-win season in franchise history. That would tie the Cowboys for the most 10-plus win seasons of all time.
Iconic. Kind
of moving on to the game itself here. So the Bills are one of the top pass defenses in the league. They're allowing 175.6 yards per game and 5.4 yards per pass.
That's pretty impressive.
Yes. They're the top pass defense. I saw that stat and I was like, whoa. Obviously, you don't know how inflated that stat is because of Tre'Davious White not being there. That's the big, obviously, difference maker. But do the Pats go after Dane Jackson in this one? We talked about this last week, or not last week, the last time we did the preview show for the Bills. Obviously, there were some weather implications that were involved with that one, so didn't exactly attack anyone in the passing game. But do you think they go after him in this one?
I can see it, yeah. I mean, you always got to kind of attack the weakest link.
Yeah. I feel like in the last matchup, they did try to attack him a little bit more in the run game, kind of run, because he's probably not very experienced, so he's not that great of a blocker on the outside. So I did notice they kind of catered to that a little bit. I don't know if that's going to be the same thing here. We're going to have to see what happens.
Yeah, see him play it out, play some good ball.
Okay. So Pats have had some trouble stopping the run, obviously.
Just a little bit.
That continued last week when Jonathan Taylor just decided to eat the mushroom and go full-on Super Mario. So they're currently 24th in the league in stopping the run, allowing 122.4 yards per game, LOL. 26th with 4.6 yards per carry.
That's awful.
We've got some bad news, we've got some good news, and we've got some better news here. Bad news. Devin Singletary averaged 4.7 yards per carry. But
is that for the year?
Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty impressive, right? But good news. Very small sample size. It's only got 133 carries. 633 yards on the year on 134 carries. So very small sample size at this point in the year. But better news. The Bills, they don't tend to run the ball a lot unless Josh Allen's involved. Unfortunately for Josh, love the name, hate the player. He has had a foot injury, so he really has not been running the ball a lot, and it showed. They've definitely stepped a little bit away from that. I've definitely seen them go away from kind of those run-pass options just because at the end of the day, you don't want to risk your franchise quarterback because him on the field at whatever he is, 70, 80, 90% is better than him off the field at the end of the day.
Oh, absolutely.
So they've definitely changed the play calling in regards to that, but the X factor here, the X factor I want to talk about here, Gabriel Davis. I really think, all right, if Emmanuel Sanders misses this one, and Cole Beasley already out, he's unvaccinated, so he's not going to play. He could definitely be the X factor here. Last week, 5 catches on 7 targets, 85 yards, 2 tutties. Stefon Diggs did see a shadow from Stephon Gilmore. He did have a touchdown, but he only had 4 catches on 35 yards. If Emmanuel Sanders misses this week, and like I already said, Beasley's out, he's unvaccinated, he's not going to play. Bye, Felicia. Is Gabriel Davis the difference maker here?
He could be. I mean, we've seen shades of Jalen Mills playing good ball, understanding the Patriots, pass defense system. And it's probably going to look like a J.C. Jackson, Stefon Diggs matchup and Gabriel Davis and Jalen Mills. So we're going to have to see. I mean, we've seen Jalen Mills, the bad side and the good side. So this could very well be a marquee matchup.
Absolutely. But anyway, Josh, enough of this joking around here. Let's just get to the main event here. Unleash Conor McGregor, ring the gauntlet, let Bruce Buffer come in and start talking. I don't care what you want to do. I feel like this is a Stefon Diggs, game. Flight
man.
SD14 is now boarding to Logan Airport, and I feel like they're going to get him involved early and often here, and they're going to show that game at Buffalo was a complete fluke, and they're going to go after J.C. Jackson a lot in this one. And they did that last year when they played it at New England. Plus, if you look at these stats, Stefon Diggs has not gone over 100 yards since week 10 against the Jets when he had 162. And he's actually only done it twice this year, the other one being against Houston in week 4. Like I just said, he lit up J.C. Jackson last year in Foxborough. And I really expect the Bills to come out firing this one. And like I was saying, they want to prove that Monday night game was a complete fluke. It was because of the weather, and the Pats got lucky playing in that weather on the road. No one can just predict you're going to throw the ball 3 times and win. That's not a recipe for the current NFL in this day and age. So I really think the Bills are going to want to put up a lot of points, and they are going to run through number 1-4. What do you think about that?
It's going to be tough to put up, come into Gillette Stadium. It is a road game and just put up points. The Patriots still have a great defense, and they did show that towards the end of the Colts game. And just in general, they've been playing great defense all year. J.C. Jackson has been wanting all the smoke lately. He's talking, I got to rename my own island. He's talking some big dog talk right now.
That's what I mean. I think they want to shut him up.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame him. Stefon Diggs is, he's Pro Bowl caliber. He's top-notch, tier A receiver, one of the best route runners in the league. He's more than capable of keeping or getting himself open. So do you force the ball with him?
Yes.
I absolutely do that. You have Dawson Knox working working the slot and in the middle field, and Gabriel Davis. This could be a high-scoring affair. This could be, let's force it to Diggs. But I think you're right in terms of they want to shut J.C. Jackson up.
This is also, I feel like, going to have to be, we talked about the Mac Jones blow-up game. We've talked about how he's eventually going to have to go win a game.
Yep.
This is the first game I'm kind of looking at where Mac's going to have to play well in this one. He's going to have to throw the ball a lot, I feel like.
Glove or not?
Because I really think the Bills are going to want to put up more than 10 points.
Oh,
I would imagine. Most teams go into games wanting to put up more than 10 points. I would imagine that's usually in the game plan.
You're going to remember all the missed opportunities.
NFL head coach. But I really feel like this is going to be a game where Stefon Diggs just goes off. If we're sitting here on Monday and the final stat line's 8 or 9 catches for 110, 120 yards and a touchdown or 2, I'm not going to be surprised at all. I expect the Pats to play from behind in this one. And the thing that scares me about this is this offense right now is depleted. Obviously, the running back room has potential to be a mess. The receiving room's a little bit of a mess right now.
Even the line, it's been kind of shaky.
Even the line's been a little bit shaky. That's another good thing. But this is going to be a Mac Jones type of game, I feel like. And this is when he's really going to have to show his maturity, and he's going to have to throw the ball a lot. I think he's going to throw the ball at least 40 times in this one. So I think he's going to throw it early, and I think he's going to throw it often.
I agree.
Who needs to step up in this game?
I think the defensive line as a unit, and Mac Jones, of course, but just when you're, 22nd in the league in run defense?
I think it was 24th.
24th?
Right? 24th in the league in stopping the run.
Needless to say, they're playing poorly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to throw that Devin Singletary 4.6 yards per carry. You got to shut that down. Shut down the run. I'm sure Josh Allen is not going to run as much. He's going to throw more. Linebackers need to step up like Jamie Collins and Mac Jones. He's got to... he's a rookie, you know what I mean? But he's got to show that he can lead this team to victory.
You got to take big shots to make big shots at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
The scary thing about this game is I think a lot of people think the Pats have a playoff spot locked up.
If we don't,
they could very well miss the playoffs.
Yeah.
Say you lose on Sunday, right? All right, Jacksonville, hopefully that all works out and goes according to plan. Then you got to go play at Miami. And they already beat you week 1. So if you lose at Miami, they got the tiebreaker all locked up. So it's very possible you go 1-2 the last 3 games, or 1-4. No, 1-3 the last 4 games. And the Dolphins, I'm assuming the Dolphins are gonna win this week.
Yeah.
With a 3rd string starting quarterback that, has no business starting. I don't care if there's a fire. This guy does not deserve to be a starter in the NFL right now. And say I don't know what the Dolphin schedule looks like off the top of my head. Let me look that up.
Even side note, what is it? We're only a game above, not San Diego, but the LA Chargers, because they've won 8 games. We won 9. That's something not to worry about, I guess, per se. But you know what I mean. We got to win these games,
Yeah.
obviously. But
So they got at New Orleans this week, at Tennessee next week, and then they play New England at home the last week of the year. So it's possible that they could win out and finish 10-7.
yeah, these games are no joke. They have major, major playoff implications.
Like, if they both finish 10-7, that's a problem. That's a big
Yeah.
problem. So I don't know what exactly is going to happen in this one, but I think the Pats need to get it together, and I think you can't check any of these teams off. I mean, Jacksonville, we're kind of going to overlook a little bit, even though that has some room for disaster. But at the end of the day, that whole locker room is just a mess. That, you know, with the Urban Meyer thing, like, Jacksonville fans are just like, can we just end the season at the end of the day, like, so we don't have to sit through this anymore?
It's one of the shortest head coaching tenures in history.
I know.
Not like Bills, though.
He's the only person to be fired midway through his first season. Midway.
What happened with the other coaching tenures? They just left or had different
They
opportunities?
stepped down.
I know Bill got traded from the Jets.
There was one other guy, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but they talked about how he was the only other one that had a shorter tenure or a similar tenure.
Is the
But the
Falcons
difference
head
was,
coach?
it might have been, I think so. But he stepped down.
Okay.
He wasn't fired.
He got
Urban Meyer was,
actually fired.
yes. So yeah, interesting. But besides the point, what do you have? What is your key to the game here? Anything else besides the D-line?
I think it's. I didn't really think about it till now. I think J.C. Jackson is the key, limiting Stefon Diggs. That's the biggest weapon.
He could
on
be the
Bills
real
team,
X
besides
factor in
Josh
this one.
Allen. But yeah, definitely.
That's very possible. But we'll just have to see what happens. What is your score prediction for this one?
I really don't want to say it.
Well, you have to because I just asked you.
Let's say 24-21 Pats. Yeah, 24-21 Pats.
I thought about this a lot. I really think the Bills are going to want to put up points in this one. Like I said, I really think Stefon Gilmore is going to... I keep saying Stefon Gilmore. Stefon Diggs is going to... I do. Stefon Diggs is going to get involved early and often here, and I really think he goes over 100 yards in this one. I'm going to go 31... I'm going to go 31-20 Bills.
31-20 Bills. I almost was going to put that out. Just be like, oh, the Bills are going to win.
I feel like this game, it's going to be one of those games that's not out of reach, but it's going to be one of those games where it's like every time the Pats need a play, like they need a third down stop, need a turnover, they don't get it. And it's like a game of inches almost, where it's like if the ball bounces 5 or 6 inches a different way, it's a completely different type of ball game. And on the flip side, I feel like this is going to be one of those games where every time the Bills have 3rd and short, 4th and short, whatever the case may be, whenever they need a break, they get it and they convert and they come through. That's just the type of game I feel like this is going to be at the end of the day. We're just going to have to see how it plays out.
Yeah. I mean, I think Diggs is going to have maybe like an 8 catch for like 70-something yard game, but I think J.C. Jackson will do a good job of containing him. I think I'm being more optimistic and also being optimistic about how the Patriots are preparing for this week's game. Working definitely harder in practice. Maybe a little chip on their shoulder from the Colts game.
That's kind of the one thing that sticks out in my mind. I'm thinking if I'm going to be wrong and I have to pick a reason why I'm going to be wrong, that's the reason, just because they're so frustrated and upset with how that game went last week. And like you said, the kind of that chip on their shoulder type thing.
It was a wake-up call.
Yeah. Sometimes you need a wake-up call.
Absolutely.
Guys, we are done here. We will be back later or earlier next week to recap this Bills game. Let's see what happens. I might actually be going to this game, so if you're watching this, come say hi. Anyway, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe as always, and we will see you, like I said, early next week. Bye,
That's
buddy.
right. Merry Christmas.